Is up, ladies and gentlemen of M Cubed? Of course, I'm Schmook. Had to rush a little bit. Could have had this be a little bit like 5 minutes later, but yeah, this originally planned for like 6, but I got back from the store early, got off work, so I'm like, you know what, we're gonna do it. Sorry about the notice, but I mean that's just how it's gonna be. It's always gonna be between probably around 5 and 6, I would say. Excuse me. But yeah, it'll usually be between 5 and 6, no matter what. 6 will always be like the latest. It would be uh, 5 at the earliest. So 5:20, I think, is decent. So just in that ballpark. Just if you're here weekly, just make sure to keep an eye out on our community page, where I'll let you guys know what time will be for sure. But what's up, guys? Welcome to the chat. Say hey, say hey. Ooh. Oh, sorry guys, it's warm. Kind of want to take off this hoodie, but you guys don't need to see that. But anyway, so I thought today I was considering doing the Raimi trilogy, but I didn't really get this by with anyone. But of course we have Loki going on, so for the next 4 more weeks, I'm going to talk about that. No matter what, no matter what. But I thought since on Friday, one of the most anticipated games of the year is coming out, which is the most highly anticipated sequel to Insomniac Spider-Man. Which I know when that came out, it came out when I was like maybe a sophomore in college, maybe a junior in college, so it came out a while ago. That was a game that I know I did not put down the second it came out. I once I got that game, I did not stop playing it. But we'll talk about that more later on. But of course, the sequel is coming out on Friday. And if you guys know about G Cubed, make sure to check that out. I probably won't be able to stream it right away, unfortunately. I have some expensive things coming up, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the game till like maybe early November. But we'll see. It just depends. Because Halloween's around the corner. Gotta get some costumes. Got some bills to pay. Finally have some student loan payments coming through. And I still gotta be able to eat. But if I'm able to get to the point where it's next week, I'm like, you know what, screw it. I have enough money. I'll buy it, and then I'll play it for you guys. But we'll see. No matter what, that's in the near future on G Cube, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, today we might as well start off with Loki, and then we'll go right into Spider-Man PS4 about how it's one of my favorite games of all time, and I can't wait for this sequel. So we'll talk about that as well. Right? Yeah. Let's talk about Loki, episode 2 of season 2, titled "Breaking Brad." So Loki season 2 is incredible. It's nothing short of incredible so far, in my humble opinion. Again, if you're watching, say hey, say hey. But there's something remarkable about what they're doing with Loki, in my humble opinion. Like when you go and look at everything else that's been coming out from Marvel Studios as of late, Loki's just such a breath of fresh air, in my humble opinion. Like, let's see, this year we got, what's up, Mark? Welcome, welcome. We're talking some Loki season 2, so episode 2 right now. But so far this year, we got Ant-Man Quantumania, which was and then we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which was awesome. It was awesome. And then last year, I think that's all we've gotten this year so far. We got She-Hulk. Yeah, we got She-Hulk, I believe. I'm trying to remember what all came out this year. But anyway, before that, we got Moon Knight, Wakanda Forever, which was okay. I like both of those. Moon Knight more so until the finale. Overall, I just don't think everything's been fantastic, right? On the movie side and the TV side of things. And of course, we also got Secret Invasion, which should come out this year as well, which is not good. Not good. Not good for the brand, and just not a good show. How you introduce one of the most OP characters of all time in this, where no one's going to know about it. You also announced that Rhodey's been a Skrull since Uh, Probably Captain America: Civil War, which was crazy too. That ruined some things. Like he was there at the death of Iron Man, and it wasn't even our real roadie. That's crazy. Maybe. Again, that's all up in the air. We don't really know for sure. But now, whenever I watch those movies, which I watched recently, I'm like, oh my god, like this isn't even our roadie. So that's crazy. Excuse me. But anyway, so Loki is a breath of fresh air. Where I remember last week talked about episode 1, and that was a great episode. And then another week later, episode 2 comes out, and it's another great episode. Loki so far is like it is not diminished in quality at all. Where I think it's just always been just consistently good. I thought episode 1 was better than this episode, but like what was good about this episode was that like it still continues on, has the same vibe, the same flavor, as you will, that we've been getting, and I think it's been good, overall. Like what I really enjoyed about this particular episode is like I like the whole like good cop bad cop scenario with Loki, Mobius, and Brad, right? Or I think his name's X-15, I believe. I thought that was awesome because I like how like Brad's just calling Loki out and be like, "Be the villain, man. Don't pretend to be something you're not. You're not the hero." And it's like shit. So I mean that's cool because you get to see Loki get a little bit more villainous in this, which we haven't really seen much of throughout this entire series. Because of course, we've known him as the first villain to the Avengers, right? And like he's always been one of the best villains within the MCU, including the first Thor movie and then the Avengers, right? But in this whole show, he's been like a good guy. That's why I really liked about this episode because you get to see him get back to his roots a little bit, but he is trying to do better because he knows what's at stake. The entire universe, multiple universes are at stake. So it's like that's where he's like, I got to put all this stuff aside and be a hero. But I really like that where it's like, dude, just be who you are, a villain. Like you're not going to save everything. Like you're not the hero. And it's like, well, I think it's leading towards the point where Loki will be basically he who remains, who's going to be the one who runs the TVA, the one who's going to try to keep all these multiverses intact, potentially create the battle world where you're going to have all the best of the best and make that the sacred timeline, which will be what the rebooted MCU will probably be, which is like, you get the best Wolverine, you get the best Iron Man, the best Captain America, you just throw them all into one world. And that's what I think the rebooted MCU will be, where you're going to have, like actors that we've seen already, as well as new actors playing characters we know and love. And that's probably going to be like a Captain America and Iron Man, in my opinion. But, this episode, again, I don't think it was as good as the first one, but it had like really good moments. I really liked when Loki and Sylvie got to meet up again, had their first conversation. I like that. I like how all these different timelines got like bombed basically, and you're seeing like all these different timelines start to fizzle away. Where it's like, oh god, they just created mass genocide in this episode, right? It was like a covert op type of mission, but Loki, Sylvie, Mobius were able to stop it, at least halt it, where they were able to save some universes, but a lot of them were wrecked. They were wrecked. I find it interesting that Sylvie is also just like working at McDonald's, just wants that quiet, peaceful life. But it's interesting. I think they're probably gonna get out of that shtick here pretty soon. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, just a good episode. It was a good episode. I don't think anything like monumentally crazy has happened yet, but I'd recommend this show to anyone who hasn't seen it. I just think it's just some good television. And you get some miraculous acting out of Tom Hiddleston this whole time. I thought this episode was like one of his best, especially when he's going a little bit more like the villainy role again. Like when he's shrinking Brad down to this box thing, it's like, oh, like talk. like the like whole bad cop good cop situation. I also did really like how casual it was, just like Loki and Mobius. This was probably honestly, besides like the whole like you're a villain and then like like the whole good cop bad cop scene. I really like the scene where it's just Mobius and Loki just eating some pie and like just talking about stuff. He's like, it's all crazy, man. Like I tried to use the Mind Stone on Tony Stark and then I threw him out a window. Like that was irrational, or whatever he says. And because Mobius obviously attacked Brad because Brad was saying some stuff that got to his head, and it happens. It happens. Sometimes we say things or hear things that'll let us just lose our mind, right? But it was nice to just see them like relax, have some pie, just talk, and be like, this stuff happens. So that was nice. I liked seeing that. Again, overall, it's not my favorite episode, but I enjoyed it. Like it just keeps showing that Loki is easily one of the best projects that the MCU has been doing. But again, on Thursday we're getting episode 3, and then we're halfway through the series. So I'm really hoping episode 3 is where things start to really kick off. But yeah, definitely a thumbs up, 2 thumbs ups even. Yeah, I highly recommend. I'll probably definitely do. Probably when the whole season is done, I will probably do a Loki series review or something on for my comic adaptations weekly, and like go for like talk about the whole series as a whole, or at least the season. We'll figure it out, and then go into what this means going forward. So that's my plan. But yeah, guys, if you haven't seen episode 2, hope you didn't just watch that part, but it's all good. All right, we'll go into talking about Spider-Man now, I guess. So again, we're going a little bit different this week. How we've been talking about movies or movie trilogies, blah, 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 our series. I thought it made sense to talk about the Spider-Man PS4 game. Because again, Spider-Man PS5 is coming out on Friday. And I just think it's one of the better superhero games we've ever gotten. And then the sequel, it's like, from everything I'm hearing, like the reviews just dropped today. Everyone's adoring this game. What I really like is what they've done with like just mechanics in general. Apparently, like, by using the PS5, it's monstrously different than making a game for a PS4, right? Which is what Spider-Man was. Like the combat's gonna be smoother. The web swing's gonna be smoother, and boss battles are gonna be sick. Based on what I've seen, it's gonna feel like God of War is what it's looking like. And that game's awesome. But yeah, again, like I'm gonna want to stream it for you guys. It's just not gonna happen right away. But if you don't get the game for yourself, and if you want to just like be able to enjoy that story with me, we're gonna start doing that here soon. I don't know when exactly, but I will definitely let y'all know for sure. Anyway, Spider-Man PS4 to me, like it's up there with like the Spectacular Spider-Man and like Sam Raimi's trilogy of like the best Spider-Man media we have gotten that's not comic books. Because I just think it's just what from the very opening of that game, I'm like, oh God, we're in for one, because like it just starts off with Peter waking up in his apartment. He's obviously an older, more aged Peter Parker. You can tell that he has like final notice bills. Yeah, man. The thing is, Mark, I appreciate it. I'm not that I'm not a fan of Doctor Who. I just haven't really watched Doctor Who. But from what I've seen, I really enjoyed it. But I just know that's just a lot, like it's a big series. But I'm intrigued by seeing like how they're having the David Tennant's Doctor coming back. That's really cool. So yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued at some point because again, I'm gonna need some sort of content to get into. Because I mean, I can always talk about whatever, because there's a vast amount of comic book adaptations, right? But yeah, I just want to talk Spider-Man today because I mean, yeah, to build off of talking about the Amazing Spider-Man last week, and then we get Spider-Man 2 this week. So I just thought talking about the PS4 game would be sick. Yeah, 872 televised episodes. That's a lot. That's a lot of TV right there, bud. But again, from what I've seen, I've enjoyed it. I'm not hating on the brand or anything. I just haven't really watched it. so I don't know that much, So I feel like I can't really like talk about it. Um, but maybe one day, not against it. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit tired, but interesting. Anyway, so we have Spider-Man PS5 coming out, but Spider-Man PS4 was just what's up, Harris? Nice to have you here. Spider-Man PS4, I just remember from that opening, it's like Final Notice, so it's like obviously he's behind on his rent. But then it's like the music playing. He puts on his costume. He just jumps out the window and starts swinging. I'm like, that was such an awesome intro. Then you have the whole like mentoree, or yeah, of Doc Ock or Otto Octavius and Peter Parker, and how eventually gets to the point of him becoming Doc Ock. So that was just such a dope story, and it also brings together the Sinister Six. And I just thought that was just such a dope story. Like, and it just hit every beat of like feeling like Peter Parker and Spider Man, especially the quippiness. I mean, you even bring Miles Morales into this game. You have the death of Miles' father in this game, so it was just cool. It was just cool. Again, like when I got the game, I'm like, I did not put down the controller except to sleep and eat, and then go to class, because I was in school. Um, but to me, it's just one of the better adaptations. Like again, like just the voice acting is great. The cinematics are great. Like if you haven't even if you haven't played the game, I would just recommend looking up like a cinematic like YouTube video where it goes from start to finish, like of all of like the cutscenes, right? Which I think would be really cool. Because it's just like a long movie, and like it feels like a movie. All the characters are great. But again, you have like awesome characters in there. Where I know Let's see. I'm trying to remember who the Sinister Six was within that. I think you had Vulture in there. I think you had Scorpion in there. You had Rhino in there. You had Electro, I believe, in there. You had Doc Ock. And definitely missing someone. But I just remember those boss fights were so much fun. It was hype once you got like the final suit to take on Doc Ock. And the whole ending's just so beautiful, like with the death of Aunt May. Like it was just it hit. It hit. It felt like a true Spider-Man story. And if you haven't played it, go and do it. If you have a PS4 or PS5, even highly recommend. Um, but what's really cool about it is just like when you're swinging through New York, you feel like you're playing as Spider-Man. You feel like you are Spider-Man, and like, and when you were done with the main story, like I mean, that was the best part of the game, in my opinion. But what was cool about it was like when you're swinging through New York and you come across all these different things that are like in Marvel Comics, right? Like you have Avengers Tower in there. You have the Sanctorum. You have Nelson and Murdoch. You have Alias Investigations, which is what's her face, Jessica Jones. Yeah. So yeah, I know Jason Momoa was at a Deerbergs by me in St. Louis, which is cool. I think he's promoting a I think it's a vodka. I don't know. He's promoting one of his drinks, which is really cool. Um, but yeah, he was like in my neck of the woods. I think over the weekend. I don't know where you're at, Mark, but yeah, he's touring right now. Um, and I guess that's a part of some news that we can talk about is that how, of course, we'll go back to talk about Spider-Man, but that just made me think of a thing that happened since our last stream, where James Gunn officially announced that like all the original DCEU actors, like playing like Wonder Woman, so Gal Gadot, Momoa as Aquaman, they're all going to be recasted or not in this universe. So it is what it is, but it's pretty clear that I think they're trying to get Momoa to be Lobo, which will be interesting. But yeah, it's vodka. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know he grew up in Des Moines. It's awesome. But yeah, he was in a suburb of St. Louis called Crestwood, like over the weekend. So that's awesome. I actually forgot he was here. I was potentially gonna go see him, but I just had a busy weekend. Um, but anyway, but yeah, that just made me think about how he's probably gonna be Lobo in the Superman movie. uh, and how unfortunately it's not gonna be Aquaman anymore. I really enjoyed him as Aquaman. But anyway, so Spider-Man PS4. Again, it was just cool to be able to like swing around, and like the combat was awesome. But again, like when I saw like the like Avengers Tower, I love like crawling up that and be like, oh sweet. And it's wild. Like I think it would be really cool. I know they're not trying to do that with this game. They would probably do it with like the final game, in my opinion, where it's like you can maybe see like Tony Stark fly by, something like that, and like he can help you out in a mission. I think it has to do with licensing though, but I think that'd be sweet. I know Insomniac's working on a Wolverine game, so it could potentially lead up to like an Avengers game by Insomniac. That might take a while, but I think that'd be really, really cool. Because I mean, like the New York that's in the Spider-Man game feels like, oh, this is the comic book from Marvel, like or the New York from Marvel Comics, you know. So I really feel like I was in that world whenever I played that game. But I think the story, no matter what, was the biggest highlight. Because meeting Miles was cool. Because then you get to play the Miles Morales video game, which was fun. Unfortunately, I never got to beat it before Spider-Man PS5 is coming out, but I enjoyed it. Like the power set makes it completely different. Like it makes the combat different, so it's intriguing. Um, my low key favorite part of the game was, of course, all the different suits. Right, like I love to be able to dress up as like Sam Raimi in the Sam Raimi suit and swing around New York as Toby, basically. Awesome. Like you have like all Tom suits, some comic book suits. I think yeah, you have the Amazing Spider-Man one suit, I believe. So that was cool. But what I'm excited for though is how in Spider-Man PS5 we're gonna get so much more, and you're gonna basically gonna get double of whatever we get, because you're gonna probably have symbiote versions of it too, and then you're gonna have Miles suits as well. So it's gonna be awesome. The customization in the new game is gonna be so cool. Um, but yeah, guys. I mean, if you haven't played Spider-Man PS4, I highly recommend. I know it was always kind of controversial that they changed how Peter Parker looked. Um, and I don't like how he looks necessarily. I like his original like version more. It just seemed like a more older Peter Parker to me. Now he kind of looks like Tom Holland mixed with like their own version. But it is what it is. It's definitely like it doesn't really matter that much. But I just don't see this like how the new Peter Parker, like him wearing the symbiote suit and doing like some outrageous things, like being like gruesome. I just don't see this guy doing it. But it doesn't really matter. Like as long as the story kicks ass, which I know it will, because Insomniac is just so good at. Um, because I know they handled like the MJ romance very well. They handled again his relationship with Aunt May very well. Then of course, like just being with his mentor, Doctor Octopus, Doctor Otto Octavius. Like they just handled it all very well. And then of course, like in this new game, we're gonna get Harry Osborn, so you're gonna see him interacting with his best friend. Of course, we had Norman Osborn in the last game. I think he's gonna, and I think they're gonna set up him for the third game, being the main bad guy. Of course, is Green Goblin, which I can't wait for. Because he is the ultimate Spider-Man villain, in my opinion. But a lot of people would say Venom, and of course, like Venom's the main bad guy. Well, Kraven's technically the main bad guy in this game, but they're marketing Venom way more because Venom's more popular than Kraven, obviously. But it's cool, man. From what we've seen, you're probably gonna get a tease of Green Goblin. You get Venom, you get Kraven, and then you have Sandman, which just got announced today. Basically, like how he looks sick. Kind of looks like a Scarecrow sequence from the Arkham games. Is what I'm kind of like getting that kind of vibe, where it's like he's gonna be huge and like just fighting him is gonna be crazy. So, but yeah, guys. I mean, of course, like the combat was awesome in the first game, and there's expanding upon that this next game with like symbiote abilities, Miles abilities, and yeah. So again, from PS4 to PS5, it's actually gonna be a huge jump in quality, graphics, combat, suits. I know they're expanding the map where you can go to like Queens and Brooklyn, I believe. So yeah, I'm excited. But I think it's gonna do it here, guys. Not a super long stream. I'm hoping to get someone on eventually, so like it can be a good back and forth. And of course, there's always more to talk about when like I'm able to go super deep into like a movie trilogy or something. And of course, like just going it through like each movie in the MCU and like what it means for the future. But I just thought it would have been fun to have talked about this since we are in fact getting the sequel to the game very soon. So, and I know whenever I'm done playing that game, I think I'll definitely do a stream, just like do a full like review on here, just talk about the story as a whole. All right, guys, I think that's gonna do it here today. We'll do this roughly around the same time next week to talk Loki. I'm hoping next week is where we get some Kang and like stuff that we can talk about the future of the MCU more, because I don't think this last episode did that much for it, because it was just a good quick episode, or not a quick episode, but like it just did. The only thing that it really did was destroy different timelines. It seemed like. So once we get Kang, I think we'll have a better idea of what the MCU is going to look like going forward. Right, guys. I will catch y'all very soon. Have an awesome Monday. It's the beginning of the week, but we can get through it. All right, guys. Catch y'all very soon. Bye bye.